Hello and welcome. Shock Callers Esports. Get boosted on a lovely Monday afternoon. And we're now into November. Eric Kummel here with Matt Hempstead. And we've got a special episode of Get Boosted.
Why is it special, Eric?
You want to know why it's special?
I would like to know, yes.
We're on Twitch.
Oh.
We're on Twitch TV for this episode. So you can check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/shockcallers esports. And if you're already on Twitch, hello. Welcome to Twitch. Probably never been there before.
if you're already on it, you've definitely never been there before.
Yeah, it's your first time going on, but so it's a big day. It's a momentous occasion for
Greygasm.
us. Greygasm. And for the whole episode, we will be talking in Twitch emotes.
Absolutely.
That was a lie. But what's not a lie is we're going to go over the World Championship Finals. SKT finally dethroned. I know it was a couple days ago now, so
Seems like forever.
it seems like forever. It might be old news for some of you, but we're going to go over it because it was a monumental series, and Samsung has been part of one of the craziest runs that I can remember in recent memory. They went 15-1 in their last 16 best-of games, dating back to the LCK, their regional run. 3-0 KT, 3-0 Longzhu, 3-0 SKT during that stretch. That's bananas.
Yeah, the only team to get a win was World Elite of all the teams, the Chinese squad. But yeah, super impressive run from Samsung. Not many people expected it to be in such a dominant fashion this finals. People were maybe saying 3-1, 3-2 Samsung. Not a single soul going for the full sweep against SKT, obviously. SKT looked like in games 2 and 3, they'd pull it back and be like, oh, here we go again. SKT down a series. They're going to win. Stop wasting our time. But instead, Samsung, there they go. Lock it up in 3 games. Don't give SKT any chance of pulling off those reverse sweeps.
Yeah, and we'll dive through some highlights of these games, but also later on, we'll dive into a lot of rumors.
Oh,
The rumors are already swirling and in full swing for the NALCS. Pretty much all of EU sounds like they might be going over there. So we'll get into some of those rumors, and of course, we'll get to your questions later on. But first, that SKT Samsung series. And yeah, you talked about games 2 and 3. It looked like, okay, here we go, 5-game set. SKT gonna get back into this. But starting with that game 1, SKT just seemed very passive throughout the whole game. I mean, there weren't any kills until after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they still had a pretty serious deficit. Samsung got the first 2 turrets, got the first dragon of the game. They were SKTing SKT. Just kind of taking everything on the map from them.
Yeah, and Peanut was kind of absent on the map while Ambition was, although not getting any kills, he was forcing flashes away from SKT members, Faker and Bang, and to lose flashes early on, which just led to them having to play on the back foot. Meanwhile, Samsung, like you said, took some early advantages, some turrets, some dragons, but it wasn't until much later at Baron where they actually were able to get a good gold lead.
Yeah, and at one of the Barons, it was actually Peanut who made some noise. We've got a clip here, and it was Ambition with a very early smite.
Very early smite.
Ends up Peanut coming away with it. But that's not all good news for SKT.
No, and I mean, it is a good job by Peanut here, but also miscommunication from Samsung. With
Whoops.
Malzahar ulted, all you gotta do is finish off the Baron because he can't use smite. But at the end of the day, it would be Malzahar picking up first blood there. Crown gets it down, and then Samsung would continue to roll this fight with a great flank from Cuvée on that cannon.
AD cannon.
AD cannon, that's right. It's not AP, not doing a ton of burst damage, that frozen mallet action. Interesting Blade of the Ruined King build there, and he was just split pushing non-stop against Huni. That was the one time he really grouped up for a team fight. The rest of the time he was always in that sideline doing his thing. But yeah, miscommunication from Samsung. Again, if you have the Malzahar art on that Peanut, on the Gragas, or the Peanut.
Art on the Peanut, that's right.
All you gotta do is just finish off that Baron, but Ruler was auto-attacking Peanut, and then he was able to survive Ambition. We've seen so many mismatches this tournament. This one did go the other way, and it went to SKT, but nonetheless, 4-0 for Samsung. Pretty much wiped out the Baron steal, and they just rolled it from there. It wasn't too much longer, and it was almost a perfect game for Samsung.
Yeah, and that's one of those Barons that is net with a very negative Baron power play that
Yes.
Stat Rights had. So didn't do much for SKT there. And yeah, game 1, super dominant by Samsung. No kills for SKT. Headed into game 2, SKT got a pretty early lead. They were up a couple thousand gold at some points, but Bang. He heavily criticized after this series, and specifically in these games 2 and 3, where SKT were not only in these games, but had sizable leads in both of them. but there were some serious misplays in a lot of these team fights for Bang. We're going to take a look at one in Game 2 where it might have been a miscommunication with the team, but just a little over-aggression for the engage, and he just flashes in.
Yeah, it looks like the initial call is to go after that Gragas with the flash ulti. And then the rest of SKT is like, oh, Nar's teleporting behind us, let's abandon ship. Bang is kind of stuck in there, and he's going to go down pretty free. Wolf tries to help him out and uses pretty much everything available to try to get him to survive. But after that, it's just going to be QV with the chase. A bunch of members of SKT drop, and this was the turning point in this game. It looked like SKT was in full control, trying to make a pick on Samsung, and it just went the complete other direction. And then we'll see it later on. It's a great team fight from Samsung. Everyone knows how good Samsung is at team fighting. Ooh. Really doing a ton of damage with that Xayah ulti with the pullback of the feathers. And then QV comes in. 3-man Gnar ultimate. Not going to do much from there. Just great CC scaling. You saw the Jarvan ult come in first, then the Xayah ult. Follow it up with that Gnar CC. Super clean fight from Samsung, and that's what they excelled at in Game 2.
Yeah, and Ruler likely getting the Xayah skin. QV going for the Gnar skin, and you know, that's a play you can show over and over again that highlights that, because I mean, Ruler played fantastic this series, MVP of the series. You can see we were kind of like, he's only played Trist and Varus. He can't do anything else. Well, we didn't say that. But he hasn't had to do anything else, but he looked terrific on that Xayah. In that first clip that we showed, even in Game 1 where they got that 4-0, he had a nice flash around to kill Faker. Played mechanically pretty much perfectly throughout this set for them. And yeah, I don't know if that Bang flash was a miscommunication by the team, but he could clearly see Ruler and Core JJ were coming up and right near him, and he was flashing into Ambition and was frontlining for against those two guys. So if he just blindly followed the team's call, then that's what's helped SKT in the past. That's why they've been so good, but didn't work out there. Yeah,
it was just flashing into Ambition. It was flashing into the Dragon Pit, where there is no escaping anything whatsoever.
Does Varus not have a escape?
No, that's all he's got. Once he goes in there, it's just the ultimate used, and now you're a sitting duck for the rest of the team. And once your AD carry's got in this meta, you should not be fighting at all. You just abort ship, and SKT tried to get away, but after that, it was the tides were turning. You could see Samsung with that superior team fighting that everyone praised them for coming into this tournament. They were known as a team. They'll fall behind, but then once they get to the team fighting stage, you better watch out, because that's what they're known for. And they showed it off in Game 2 once they were able to get some help from Bang.
Yeah, and heading into Game 3, SKT down 2-0. In Game 3, again, they get a pretty early lead, and they had a sizable lead at points during this game, up around 6,000, 7,000 gold. And despite Bang being down 30 CS,
no problem,
30 CS in lane, again, it was SKT who got the first 2 kills of the game in this one. Faker's Rise was rolling in Game 2. Didn't work out. Then he went for the Karma mid in Game 3. Despite Bang's troubles, they kind of have a comp based around him on the Tristana. And yeah, despite going down 30 CS, he got a couple of kills early and was actually looking, okay, here comes SKT. They're rolling pretty well. Then you get this fight around Baron where Bang, a guy who's got to stay alive, and Ruler has no flash to start this fight. So it looks like SKT is going to win, but again, a couple misplays by Bang, and it cost them very dearly in this fight.
Yeah, this is not a good play from Bang. The classic jump into Sejuani, and he also ults Ruler.
The old 2-for-1.
It looked like Ruler was a sitting duck there, and he got a lot of help from Bang with that Tristana ultimate to get way out of danger. And then, of course, QV comes around the other side and eats Bang, and he's done because he decided to jump into an entire team. And once again, that's just how you start losing gold leads. You lose a couple members, especially your AD carry, and then there's a Baron opportunity here for Samsung. Completely wiped the vision. Makes it difficult for Blank, who subbed in for Peanut because he wasn't doing anything in the opening 2 games. Forces him to try to make a blind steal here. Goes in very early.
Almost.
And he goes down. So this is the start of the snowball for Samsung. Again, all starts from a Bang misplay, an overeager play from Bang, and then the final play of the series, of course. Ruler using Flash properly, finding Faker out, getting a million shields, and of course a nice save from who else but Bang on that Tristana ultimate to pretty much wrap up this series. And kind of a fitting way to finish it off with Bang helping Ruler out and catching Faker. You kill Faker, you beat SKT.
Yeah, and Faker's flash was just a couple of seconds away from coming up in that one. But yeah, I mean, all the respect in the world to Samsung. They played fantastic in this series. Faker devastated. I didn't think he was going to shake hands.
Yeah, it took him a while.
It took him a while. He was clearly very upset. But I think that Baron that we showed in that first clip there of Huni and Faker just basically running around the Baron pit, not really doing anything. They're the last one standing, was pretty much the metaphor for this whole series, was those two just kind of being like, oh. There was that sad... I mean, they did get something out of that 2v4 with the Karma and Trundle. Everyone was so low life, and they turned it around. They stayed in the game even though their Nexus was exposed, and you're like, oh my god. Imagine if SKT came back from just their Nexus for a reverse sweep, but that didn't happen.
It's not.
That did not happen. And now you got to wonder what this does for SKT's roster.
It looks like a lot.
Looks like a lot.
Because it looks like they need some jungle help. Because if the meta's anything like it is now, it doesn't look good for Peanut.
I feel like they're going to try Peanut again.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Maybe they try Peanut Blank again. I mean, Blank struggled a lot at times last year, and then he came back this year. He looked great at times. Peanut looked great at times.
They both look great at times, but they both look horrible at times.
Yeah, so maybe you hope for a more middle ground next split, and yeah, maybe the meta will change. But I think jungle, they might actually keep the same. Listen, Bang hasn't been great. He wasn't great. In the group stage, he was actually pretty good, though. Knockout stage,
sure.
And him and Wolf were definitely not great throughout the summer split for SKT. But, I mean, Bang has been one of the best ADs in the world for the past 3 years. Do you really just cut him for a bad half year?
I mean, it has been an extended period of time now that he's been criticized for. And, yeah, you can kind of say, yeah, group stage was good. But some of these plays, man, they were, like, serious costing performances from Bang.
They were
saving the enemy AD carry in a meta where you have to kill him. And then just constantly being out of position because of overeager flashes or just on W's, rocket jumps. It's not going to get it done. And on a big stage, you can't make those mistakes. You see it from time to time, whether people are holding flash, people are using it in the incorrect way. It can really cost you a game. And that's what Bang did with SKT in some of these games. You're not going to pin it all on just him, obviously. There's a bunch of things that you can attribute this loss to. Samsung playing out of their minds, and other SKT members not carrying their weight, especially early on in some of these games. But Bang definitely contributed to the losing.
Yeah, and a lot of these games, not very high kills, and Samsung teams were still getting pretty early gold leads. I got a pretty juicy stat, I got to tell you. Crown and Cuvee placed 53 more wards than Faker and Huni did. 53 in this series.
That's pretty crazy.
That's a lot of wards, man.
That's a lot of vision. They can see a lot of things.
That's a lot of vision. So maybe. I feel like that definitely had some effect in at least game 1 when Samsung was able to get that huge lead without any kills. I don't know about games 2 and 3, but...
I mean, it definitely contributes to Peanut and Blank not being able to get stuff done in the early game when you can see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
It helps.
But we get Samsung skins. No more SKT. 3 in a row. Get some slightly blue skins. They'll probably be kind of blue.
Very black and white.
They're not Samsung white. Samsung Galaxy. What color is the Galaxy?
It's black.
Yeah, that's true. I want blue skins.
Well, Cloud9's next year.
Next year. Cloud9's winning next year. But SKT might have a very different roster because Faker's coming to NA, as everyone knows, for that franchising money. Everyone knows that. I thought that was common knowledge.
That's what we need, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need. There are a lot of rumors, though.
There's a lot of rumors
around about the NALCS. But I will say first, that's it for Worlds. Worlds is over. Worlds 2017.
It seemed like it lasted a year ago, started a year ago, but also seemed like it, was just like the other day when I watched White Lotus pop off.
White Lotus also come into the NALCS.
Hope so.
Going to be very interesting.
Good Worlds, though.
It was a good Worlds. It was very interesting. The knockout stage was fantastic. And even though it was a 3-0 final, which is a kind of common theme in these finals.
It was a hype 3-0 final, though.
It was very hype because it was the underdog.
Yeah. If it was an SKT 3-0, it'd be like, oh, God.
But it was in miraculous fashion. And I quite enjoyed Worlds 2017. And the turnaround is insane. They've already got all these preseason updates. You got these remastered runes you got to deal with.
What is Worlds?
New champions coming. Okay, Worlds is done, man. Who cares? Season 8, let's go.
Yeah.
So, and then All-Stars is already in a month. A month tomorrow it starts. This is like no off-season time. Although, I mean, some teams have been off for a year and a half. Echo Fox hasn't played a game in a while.
Yeah, right. So some teams are dying for action. Others are like, we did. World's just finished.
World's just finished. Help.
Yeah.
We will be getting your questions in a little bit. Make sure you're sending them in, whether it's about Worlds, your dream NA team, some of these swirling rumors, which is what we're going to get into now. It's been a while.
It's the good stuff.
Since we talked about TSM. They've been,
like
eliminated from Worlds for a couple weeks. That's a long time to not talk about TSM, a couple weeks. But, you know, the same roster 2 years in a row. Can't get out of groups at Worlds. We both expect some changes to happen, and the rumors are coming in. Bjergsen's back to playing. He had his week off. It sounded basically took a week away from the game, which, again, I would have taken a lot more. But one of the rumors going around is maybe Flash Wolves' Karsa coming over to TSM. Now, I'm not so sold on that actually working out, but that is one of the rumors. What do you think of that? You like that?
Karsa's an interesting pick if that's what they choose to go with. Again, this is total rumor based on something they saw on, I believe it was a Flash Wolves stream. Some players talking in the background about Karsa potentially coming over and leaving the Flash Wolves. But, I mean, he's a guy who knows how to win, at least in the LMS. Outside of that, he's had mixed success at Worlds, obviously taken SKT down a couple of times. But a jungler known for his playmaking, for his Lee Sin skills. Obviously, he's done all kinds of highlight plays, whether at All-Stars, whether on the world stage, whether in the LMS with the Flash Wolves. So, guy with a high skill cap. I have no idea how good his English is, if it exists whatsoever. But obviously looking at someone, once again, who has this high skill cap, someone who can make plays and eventually turn into a ward bot. For now,
of course.
But for now, looking for a playmaker, because every time they bring in these guys who have this playmaking ability, Sven Skaren came in as one of the most aggressive junglers. Karsa fits that same kind of mentality as I want to make plays early, and he also at times wants to carry the team. So we'll see if that's someone that TSM's interested in. Again, just a rumor based on some stream highlights.
Yeah, now, it depends. TSM, again, is a team who usually doesn't want to bring in someone who doesn't speak great English because it's just going to hurt their communication issues, and that might already be an issue with 5 guys who speak English quite well. So, and if that's not an issue, and you're bringing in a guy like Karsa, I don't know why you would bring in a guy who did not have a great performance at Worlds. His team did not have a great performance at Worlds. If you're going to do that, bring in Levi.
Yeah.
Levi was clearly the standout performer on the Marines, even though they also didn't have a great World. They were 1 game away from getting out of groups, though. And they put up some very exciting games. And you saw how amazing Levi was. So I think Levi, you'd take him over Karsa if the communication issue isn't a thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, for Karsa, the edge is that he has that history of winning. And I know the Marines in their region, again...
They have a history of winning against TSM.
Right, yes, they do. So it's an interesting point. But, I mean, Karsa, with the Flash Wolves, they don't lose, man. They don't lose in the LMS. And he's kind of the guy who's always on top of this team. He's the leader. He's the guy who stands out game after game, even though at Worlds, yes, the team looked pretty bad and they had some different roster changes. There was a new look. Flash was from the one that we're accustomed to seeing at this Worlds tournament, so I don't know if it was a fair indication of how good Karsa's playing currently, but I'm sure they're going to be trying out a bunch of guys. I don't think they're just going to be like, hey, we want you, come play over here. You know, back when they were looking at Sven, they did a whole tryout thing, so we'll see what they end up going with.
Yeah, and Karsa's not even the only one who's being rumored with TSM. This is not even a rumor, but Bjergsen is doing a lot with our boy. The man, the myth, the legend, the prodigy, MikeYeung. He's been doing with Bjergsen a lot, but I mean, Bjergsen duels with a lot of people, so I don't know how much to go into this, but MikeYeung does not take up an import slot. As far as I know, he speaks pretty good English. In fact, I would say he's fluent in English.
Yes.
Pretty bold claim. And he's got cool gunners, a fidget spinner that he's pretty good with. So, I mean, these are all just points towards MikeYeung. But I'd rather see MikeYeung on CLG than TSM. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like MikeYeung on TSM?
MikeYeung's interesting. And again, this rumor is so stupid.
It's not even a rumor.
No, it's just based on someone's solo queue and being like, oh, you played with Bjergsen, huh? That's pretty suspicious. So anyone who plays with Bjergsen is going to TSM, basically. But I mean, back in the a year ago, Contracts was doing with Bergson a lot back when they were looking for a jungler. So maybe he was in the running at that time. Who knows? Or it's just Bergson being like, "Hey, Mike, we're friends. You want to play League?" It's like, sure.
Chat, that is the most outlandish thing you've ever said.
That's a hot take, right?
That's
pretty egregious thing to say.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Every time I ask you to play League, it's because I'm trying you out for my team. Right?
Yeah, and I always say no. Yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to play.
That's right.
That's what I say.
You're above me.
Yeah, of course. We're in different brackets. We can't do them.
It's not true.
Got them. I'm excited for all these half-hearted rumors that you can just dream of what these teams could be. How many of them are actually true or actually hold any weight? This is a dark time to be finding league news because you have no idea what's legit and what is not legit. But if we're looking at Karsa and MikeYeung, I don't think either of those are the best option for TSM.
No, but I mean, as you said, the red detectors are going to give you a lot of clues in the right direction. They're also going to throw in some tampered evidence to throw you in the wrong direction
That's what
as
makes
well.
it fun.
So yeah, you never know which is the good stuff or which one is the glove doesn't fit kind of thing. So we'll have to see.
All right, now OpTic, one of the 4 new teams coming into the NALCS. This split now. I can say this split now because 2017 is officially done. No one on the team yet. No one on the team, so the roster totally up in the air. But there's that pretty juicy sources rumor going on. Anytime it says sources, you know it's pretty legit. Vizicsacsi, Hylissang, and the UOL manager, Romain,
That's right.
potentially joining OpTic. That's your 2 import slots immediately gone. If this deal does go through, which again, it is not confirmed by any means that it does, you got to feel like Chachi and Hylissang were kind of like a package deal. They're like, we're going together, or we're not going at all.
That's what it seems like. And I mean, there's a couple things that make this make a bit of sense. One is Romain being like, hey, I have an opportunity of a lifetime that I just can't say no to, so I'm leaving the Unicorns of Love. Going to OpTic and kind of starting a whole new LCS team from scratch with a couple of your players seems like a pretty good opportunity, and I guarantee you he's making more cash than he would have been with the Unicorns of Love. So that makes a bit of sense to me. And also the Unicorns signed Exile and Samix already to fresh deals. No word on Chachi and Hylissang with the Unicorns of Love. I know that they're free agents, allowed to look at different things. So this is where this OpTic rumor kind of comes out of. And based on these sources, which are completely undefined and have no idea where they came from, we'll have to see how true this deal is, but it does make some sense. And for Vizicsacsi and Hylissang to make their way over, obviously Chachi's a top laner in Europe, I would say, from last split. And then Hylissang had a rough go, but he's known as this playmaker, someone who's not afraid to pull out the weird picks and get overly aggressive at times. But I mean, it's a pretty decent starting point for a new team entering the NALCS. Yeah,
and Chachi obviously didn't have the best summer split. Spring split MVP, but yeah, he's still one of the top laners coming out of EU. And maybe they saw that UOL re-signed Exile, and they were just like, get us out. Get us out. We're moving. We're moving to an entirely new country. Maybe that's what it was, but yeah, it feels like they were a package deal, and I feel like these were 2 of the main voices on the Unicorns. These are the guys who have been there since the beginning of that organization, and that's a tough loss if they do lose them. And those are some fan favorites because they've been around for so long, which, if they do leave, is just another hit to the EULCS. Ouch.
Another hit. Yet another one.
One.
Especially when we were talking about Zen and Mithy potentially dipping out of there. So it's looking a little bare over in Europe. But if you're OpTic and you start with Chachi in the top lane, Hylissang in the support position, that means you need 3 NA guys.
Uh-oh.
To fill the rest of that roster. And I know Eric and I have a list of guys who are available, which we'll bring to you over the next weeks as we kind of try to piece together these rosters, because you can't actually sign anyone until November 21st, I believe. So it's just going to be these rumors for the next 2 weeks, which should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you look at some of the guys available, who's going to get in there, especially in the jungle position. You need a North American jungler, a North American mid laner, and a North American AD carry. Specifically, that mid pool is a little dark when it comes to the mid position, because you have like Keen and Poe Belter as the main guys.
Yeah, the domestic mid lane talent pool for NA is basically it's those inflatable pools you had as a kid, man. That's how many of them there are. There's not very many.
No.
AD's not bad. Jungle's a little better than mid, but definitely mid lane is going to be rough because, yeah, Pope's going to be the most sought after, one of the most sought after mid laners heading into this, free agency period. It's not even free agency. It's just teams don't have any rosters. But, yeah, if they do sign these two, they are definitely handcuffing themselves quite a bit.
So keep an eye on the scouting grounds, maybe. As a place you look for, because, every team gets a draft pick.
The scouting grounds draft lottery.
I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but that's kind of interesting. We'll probably hit on that later.
Oh, we'll go deep in that. But that is very exciting, though. League is going to have a draft for these guys. And, I mean, if they're going just by top players in each position, Michael Lama, Cutie Pie Santana are going to be playing on 3 different teams, right?
And a Shinshin.
Yeah, and a Shinshin. Shifter getting in there. Shifter, you should come back to the LCS, man.
They need.
There's some good money. A domestic mid laner. He's a solo queue beast. He could be a top 10 mid laner for sure.
I don't see why not.
Come on in, Shifter. The sadness might not end there for EU. Misfits. Game 5 against SKT.
Yep.
Almost won in Game 4. Had a chance in Game 5. Put up a fantastic performance for EU. They've only been around for a year. The future is bright for this team. They're going to come back with the same roster this year and be great. No. Doesn't seem like it.
Oh.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry to break it to you.
Very upsetting.
IgNar and PoE. Again, these are screenshots of messages from streams. And even PoE kind of reiterated he's not necessarily leaving EU, but it's kind of like there's a lot of things he has to take into consideration as to how competitive the team can be, money from other places, how much he can grow within the team, stuff like that, which sounds like he might leave.
I mean, of course he might leave. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that any of these players, even on EU, whether they want to stay in EU on a different team, is still an option. He didn't say he was going to leave Europe necessarily, but his time on Misfits might be limited. But why is it a surprise when there's all this money on the line? You have this great split with a team that performs incredibly well, especially for a guy like IgNar who showed up on a world stage and blew people away with his champion pool and stuff like that. For him, Korea might be an option. Maybe able to go back home to Korea and go to one of these teams with a support position after the performance he put up, after he even single-handedly changed the outlook of SKT's champ select when things like Leona came into play. So there's stuff like that where, of course, IgNar is going to have other options, and if he wants to go back to Korea, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, listen, IgNar was great at Worlds, but I feel like he hasn't quite done enough to warrant it's like a spot on a prime Korean team.
Right.
Maybe he goes to one of the middle pack teams, but I mean, he's not going over to replace Wolf on SKT just because they dumpstered him 2v2, right? I mean, sure, maybe he will go to Korea, and I'm sure plenty of teams would be happy to have him, but I don't know about these top upper echelon teams. Whereas NA, you can go on pretty much any team. TSM tried him out before, and they said no. Maybe come back to TSM. Who knows? Go to some of these teams that are filling out rosters. He's definitely worth an import slot in NA. So I'm sure he's fielding a lot of offers right now, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he leaves. But if him and PoE leave, and Chachi and Hylissang are leaving, there's only like 2 teams in the EU LCS people are going to care about. That's it.
Yeah.
Fnatic, if they keep a pretty similar roster, people will always care about them. They're one of the biggest brands. If Sven and Mithy leave too, oh man, Perks is going to be like, I should have left too. What am I doing? So EU LCS, again, these are rumors. These guys might just end up staying in EU. But if these 4 guys are all leaving too, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, and if you're sitting in North America, PoE's got to be a pretty sought-after commodity, because we already mentioned how ugly that North American mid lane pool is, where it's like a couple of guys, and then there's a pretty big fall-off to the rest of, those NA mid laners. So PoE, come on over, man. We got a spot for you, and that's only, I don't think he's going to be a duo deal with IgNar like the whole Chachi Hylissang thing is. They'll probably be going their separate ways to different teams, whether it's staying with Misfits, going somewhere else in Europe, Korea, North America. I don't think they're going to be a package deal like you saw with Sven and Mithy and Chachi and Hylissang.
No, I think they could definitely be going on different teams. But if PoE does come, you basically got four 4 of the top mid laners in EU, in NA. See, I mixed it up because they're all from EU. In
Yes.
NA. You'd have Bjergsen, Jensen, Froggen, PoE. Ah. NA, boys.
Where are we?
NA. Perks, come on down.
What?
5 best mid laners in NA are all from EU.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
Who
be something? Who he? Definitely a local NA boy. Born and raised. Oh, well.
Yeah, no relation to Korea whatsoever.
No. Born and raised in NA. But whew, this is very early on, and all these rumors are coming in. And I mean, the 3 NBA teams, no word out of them. They still have nothing. Their
Riot still
roster's
hasn't
nothing.
announced anything, dude.
Yeah, these might not even be the teams. Maybe G2 did get in and Riot's just not telling us. It is a little odd that Riot hasn't released some official statement about what the NALCS is going to be. Are these the 10 teams? Are we being punked?
Being punked.
We screwed up with Immortals, guys. They're back in.
Yeah. Who knows?
Except all the other players have been signed from Immortals. So now you have to get a whole new Immortals team.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
Based on reports, we've known the 10 teams for about, what, a week? Over a week now?
Over a week.
And Riot still hasn't released a statement being like,
This is true.
guys, it's time to announce our 10 teams. Get excited. You have no idea who it is. The 10 teams
The
that
drum roll.
have been reported already.
Yeah,
But,
we've known for weeks, right?
Even back, like a while back, they said once we have the 10 teams, we'll release a statement about why these teams got in to let you know who's in. I guess they're just assuming that everyone knows, like, screw it, we'll take our time. Even though
there's no
free agency
point.
starts in 2 weeks. A little weird.
And yeah, the Scouting Grounds tournament starts in, I think, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It gets underway and they're going to do that draft. So we'll see how many of those guys actually get some legitimate looks to start on some of these rosters. For sure, you can throw them in your academy team. But just, again, thinking of the sheer amount of players that are needed to field all these rosters. 100 players!
Yeah.
100! 100. That's a lot of League of Legends.
It's 3 digits.
That is 3 digits. Quick maths. Good job. Good job.
Great reference there.
Yeah. You know, it's a great song. You guys should check it out. We're gonna get to some questions.
Yeah.
In a moment once Matt gets his tablet going. But,
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot. Like,
No. I didn't want to put you on the spot. Well, EU's in trouble, man. If these 4 guys are leaving EU, they're in some serious trouble. H2K has talked about they're not happy with what Riot's doing with the EULCS. G2, if Zen and Mithy, as well as these 4 leave, the EULCS is dead, as far as I'm concerned. It's dead. If Fnatic is not playing, if Fnatic or G2 are not playing in a game, they're going to get like 10,000 viewers. If that, like 7,000 viewers for their games.
yikes.
No, they want to watch Giants take on Vitality. I think like 4 or 5 streamers during that time will just get more views than that.
It's very unappealing, especially when you see the top tier talent leaving. It's like, what's
listen,
bringing me in?
EU does a great job of actually grooming talent, and they might eventually become great players, but in their first split, their first couple of games, there's no backstory. People haven't heard of these guys before. They don't care, even if they're great. They don't care. Besides, once they develop and get good, they just come to NA anyways.
That's true. At least until EU franchising takes over.
2019 TM.
At least a year away.
It's tough for the EULCS, man. It's tough. Tough sledding. I like sledding. Ever been sledding?
Once or twice, yeah.
It's a good time.
It's not bad.
You guys should try. Let's get some questions.
You completely disregard the tough sledding bit by saying that you love sledding.
Yeah, let's think about sledding. It's fun.
It's not bad.
Tobogganing.
Winter's close, you know.
Yeah, winter's about a month away.
You know, I usually call it tobogganing, to be honest. But
I believe there is a difference. Tobogganing, it's usually a bigger.
is that the one with the curled front?
Yeah, that's a toboggan.
That's toboggan.
The sled is like the fast, sleek stuff.
Oh, so you don't like the protection?
No. It's not dangerous enough for me. Crazy carpets, that's where it's at.
Those things are awful.
Crazy, man.
That's how you get cut in the eye.
Yeah, well, live on the edge, you know.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of getting cut in the eye, first question is from Shed Blood.
Okay.
Wow, that was a
question?
fantastic segue.
That's pretty good.
Thanks. How does the
Shout
draft
outs to Shed Blood. Sorry.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
How does the draft for the NALCS prospects work if we get one? So the way the draft works, there's going to be 20 players at this, what's it called?
Scouting combine.
Scouting grounds?
So they're going to pick
Combine, yeah.
basically the top 20 from
The challenger ladder.
yeah, from all the positions, and basically just put them into a team. I don't really know.
There's 4 teams of 5.
Yeah,
I don't know how the teams are made.
these teams are gonna suck.
Yeah,
They're
but
just picking random guys and going your team. They're all just gonna be playing for individual to showcase their own talents.
Yes, which is
So
going to
they're
be
gonna be hilarious.
interesting.
Games.
But they're getting coached by like LCS coaches, these teams. So we'll see how they perform. And then after they do a whole slew of games between the teams, do a finals and whatnot, then teams, I don't know how they're determining the order yet, but there will be an order. And they'll be able to draft, each player gets to draft one guy, or each team gets to draft one player. And they can, there's a signing period, you can choose to sign them or not.
I feel like the 4 new teams are gonna get the first 4.
That would make a lot of sense.
Oh.
Yeah.
So basically, you could have a guy who's knocked out in the first round, but he's just sick. He's amazing, and he might go first overall. Who knows? I feel like mid laners are going to be pretty highly picked.
You would think so.
Mid laners, because they're pretty.
Because you need
rare.
those.
You need them. You need them. But it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's.
I'm sure Riot. Well, they have to release more details about it because you don't know all the details.
It's another new thing coming to North America, so.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like what they're doing.
I do too. We'll do a mock draft for
That's
League of
right.
Legends. Never thought I'd say those words.
I did. I knew you would. I saw the future.
All right, Raven. That's pretty cool.
Great show.
It's not bad. Cyberman GT, how do you think rosters in NA will look in 2018? Do you think current players will quit and tons of new talent will join? Not so much quit, but there's...
I wouldn't quit if franchising's coming in.
No, that's where you want to stay. I mean, you might get replaced. I don't see many people quitting if you're already on a roster making the sweet NA money.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's going to be a lot of change because there's a bunch of empty rosters. At least 4 empty rosters, unless OpTic's Chachi, Hylissang Rumours are for real. But we do not know that for sure. So,
listen, maybe if it was another normal split of the LCS, maybe Doublelift doesn't come back. Because he's like, I don't know, I want to do that again. But now there's this whole franchising thing. It's a little different with your having to have 2 different rosters. Maybe that would be enough to refuel a lot of these guys and keep the thirst and drive for winning going. So I don't think a lot of guys are just going to quit now.
no, if anything, come back. Because even Meteos has expressed some desire to return to pro play.
He's easily a top 10 jungler, I would say.
And he's North American.
He is.
Wow.
Bring back the blonde hair, though, pal.
You want the bleach it again?
I want Super Saiyan Meteos back.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fast & 08, when do teams tell their rosters? Man, well, they can't sign free agents till like November 21st. So it's going to be a while. Though we'll probably hear inklings of completed rosters before then.
Yeah, I don't think Riot has at least publicly made it known when rosters have to be locked by. But I assume it's got to be a couple weeks before the split starts.
Well, I mean, teams are going to want time to practice. And it starts January 20th.
That's what Spring Split is. It's their practice, I guess.
It really is.
So roster lock, January 19th.
But if I was a team, I would want to have it like set by mid-December. And you have a month and a half to prep.
Yeah, especially for some of these guys who are going to All-Stars, going to throw off their practice schedule. Because I would assume guys going to All-Stars are likely going to be on a roster this split. Maybe not. But, yeah, they haven't set a specific time. But it's got to be sooner rather than later, I would think.
You would think. Who knows, man? It's going to be a weird offseason.
True.
Championship Z, what will the TSM roster look like? Erk and I both think that Sven is probably Gonzo. And then there's been other rumors with Ven and Mithy potentially replacing Doublelift and Biofrost. I'm believing that less and less as the days go on. But we'll see. But the Sven Skaring getting replaced thing is pretty close to 100% in my eyes. We've heard so many names now. Karsa, MikeYeung has been thrown in there. There's just a lot of good junglers, especially imports. If you replace Sven, then you open up that import slot. You can bring in somebody. So
Yeah, I really like Smithy going to TSM.
Yeah, you like that move. Yeah.
I think he isn't necessarily as aggressive and crazy as some of these other junglers that TSM is rumored to be considering. I almost said air quotes, but air quotes wouldn't have made sense there. So I did. Yeah. I think Smithy works pretty well. He's a guy who you can kind of run your early game through, which you saw at Worlds. TSM's early game is nothing. Just wait to lose the game, which isn't the best strategy for winning games. So I think bringing in Smithy could really help them out there. He might not be a big shot caller for them, but I think just the way he plays kind of completely can dictate the early game for them, and they desperately need that.
They definitely.
Desperately.
They definitely do.
So I like Smithy. And yeah, that opens up an import slot if Doublelift decides to leave or they feel like they can upgrade him and or Biofrost.
Yeah. And that leads to the next question from Kyle Herc. Do you guys think that TSM should really replace Biofrost? He and Hanser were the only good performers at Worlds. I don't think they'd ever replace Biofrost in like just a straight up 1-for-1 upgrade at support. They might do it if they also take a Doublelift along with them, just because Sven and Mithy is too good to pass up. That's the only situation I see Biofrost getting replaced.
That's the only way I really see them, moving that bot lane, is if they get that. I mean, Biofrost, all he's done is win LCS titles since he came on TSM. 3 for 3. Hasn't made it out of groups.
He's hasn't been there for that long.
Hasn't been there for that long. And Doublelift, as much as the memeing has gone for him, the past 2 Worlds, really, what's an upgrade? Besides Sven. Maybe he's not as good internationally as he is domestically. Does that mean you're just going to replace him with who? Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe you get Forgiven. That'd be interesting.
Forgiven Biofrost. That would be interesting.
That poor Vincent Wang would have his soul crushed if he had to lane with Forgiven.
Yeah, the bromance of Doublelift Biofrost would slowly turn into just abuse.
Utter despair.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. Maybe that's another situation where they get rid of Biofrost, is if you bring in Forgiven, because that would just not work. But, I mean, there's not that many upgrades you're going to get over Doublelift.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Basically, Sven and Mithy.
If you get a good duo, then you can make the change. But it'd still be a gutty change from TSM.
Yeah.
So we will see. Philip, when is there going to be TSM versus Samsung Galaxy Kappa? He wants the match, man. It might be a while. First of all, who knows if Samsung's even going to get back to Worlds Finals next year? They haven't won anything up until this point.
I mean, they did go on this insane run.
Sure, but no LCK wins.
Vins, yes.
Yes.
I mean, Ambition's probably going to retire. And why wouldn't he? Go out on top, man.
Absolutely.
He's been around for a while. Retire. It was the beautiful, beautiful full circle that he went from Faker's debut, solo killing him because he totally disrespected him, to him coming back as a jungler and destroying the dynasty of SKT. It's
a good story. It's a sweet story.
So Samsung might be a pretty different looking team, or it might just be Ambition.
Yeah, because Ruler is a thug in a good way.
Thug in a good way. Yeah. That team did look awful without Ambition in a lot of games. Whenever he subbed out, they looked lost.
Yeah, hopefully Haru's not the guy who replaces him.
Yeah, maybe someone else. But TSM versus Samsung, probably never.
Yeah, keep open, but
unless TSM releases a Samsung Galaxy commercial, then you might get that matchup. But that's probably the only time.
Yeah. All right, there's tons of questions today. So.
All right, here we go.
All the rumors, man. Getting people confused.
There's some juicy rumors.
As of myself. Championship Z, does Bjerg still count as import? No. He's been living in North America long enough. He is now North American. Not European.
Greatest mid laner NA.
That's right. Wow.
Bjergsen and Jensen.
Shed Blood, where will Cody's son end up? Now, that's a good question. Because I've still been a believer that this Immortals roster would kind of stay together. That team would just kind of scoop them all up and be like, wow, look at this great roster we signed. Never seen this before.
That seems like too nice of a fairy tale that they're all like waiting together to go somewhere. I feel like there's going to be maybe a couple of them stick together. Maybe Cody Sun and Ole go somewhere. Maybe Smithy and PoE or something. But I feel like there's too many offers probably coming in for these guys, especially the domestic guys like Cody Sun, Smithy, and PoE Belter, that I can't see them sticking together. I'm sure a team would love to, but money talks.
Money does.
Money talks. See, Cody Sun, another guy who's probably going to be highly sought after, even though his Worlds and not really his playoff.
He's still a good AD.
He's still a great player, but the recency bias,
of course,
is very strong. But yeah, he's going to be on a roster 100%, and tough to say where he'll end up though.
I mean, there's just no inkling whatsoever of any of these NBA teams. So
I got to assume he's going to be on one of the 4 new teams,
or Echo Fox.
That's going to be basically a thing that's going to be reiterated for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
One of the 4 new teams or Echo Fox. Because they need basically everything except a mid laner. I don't even know if I trust Acadian anymore.
I don't know. Probably deserves a spot. And we didn't even mention FlyQuest. Who knows what they're going to look like, man?
Oh, they got Turtle.
Yeah, but in general, their roster should be a different look.
It should be Turtle and 4 new players.
Yeah. Romeo Barnes, Smithy is signed. He is not signed. He's a free agent. Looking for help. Looking for a home.
LFG, LFT,
Yeah.
general chat, looking for team.
Looking for a team. DMs are open. So
DMs are open. That was a great, on like November 1st, there were just people retweeting. It was like 30 guys who were like, so-and-so for business inquiries, message my Gmail or DM me.
Yeah, and you could tell that they were just sent a direct like thing to copy and paste into Twitter because they're already the exact same. It was just...
Or someone, it just started a chain and someone did it and like, oh, maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
Copy paste. But yeah, no, Riot was probably like, you have to release this. Okay.
I am still under contract with insert team here.
Yeah, and I bet you some guys forgot to change the team name, had to delete the tweet, redo it. Whoops. But that was great, especially because people were just retweeting them all, so they were everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of free agents.
A lot of free agents. A couple more questions from Shed Blood. Should C9 replace their priority from Feed Jensen carry to something different, and how can C9 improve from last split?
I mean, they kind of did change that play style in the play-ins, and you saw it at Worlds, and it worked pretty well for them. I think C9's pretty good.
Yeah.
They look pretty solid. I mean, if they get more consistent play out of Sneaky and Smoothie, if they play like they did at Worlds, I think they could dominate the NALCS pretty well and probably be better than TSM, assuming Impact continues to play. Maybe if the tank meta is still there, or if they're getting a new top laner. But I mean, Contracts, Jensen, and Smoothie, those are pretty solid.
Yep.
Those are probably top 2, top 3 in their position. So Sneaky, that's pretty good.
It's pretty damn good.
They were close to beating World Elite. They probably could have beaten World Elite. Maybe should have beaten World Elite and would have beaten Samsung, of course.
Of course.
They were gotten 3-0'd by Samsung, but everyone did.
Yeah,
World
it
Elite.
wouldn't have been a shame.
No.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job of adapting on the world stage in a meta where you can't rely on your mid laner to carry games. It just doesn't work that way. They did a good job of showing that Sneak can still carry these games when you have to. So, I don't know. I think C9's done enough to show that they're probably still a top tier North American team. Probably don't have to change too much.
No, and I think you basically now you can't take anything from last split because just looking at the preseason, it's going to be completely different. Meta's going to be totally different. No more Ardent Sensor, thank God. So, I mean, these teams are going to be playing totally different play styles because they're going to be forced to. I want to see more carry-oriented mid lane action, though. That's what I want this year.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I'm with you. That'd be nice. Tefori asks, do you guys think talents from smaller regions such as White Lotus should look to join bigger teams, bigger regions, or stay and grow their own region, Eric?
White Lotus. Come on, man.
We want them.
That's worth an import. Is it worth an import slot?
I think so.
Think so.
Well, I don't know. It depends on what's available.
There's pretty good ADs for NA.
Yeah.
Got Double Lift, Sneaky, Wild Turtle, Cody Sun, Stixay, Keith. No, Keith.
But there's even guys in the challenger scene that have drawn a lot of attention, like Deftly. He's gotten some praise as well. So we'll see.
Not Deft.
No, not Deft. Deftly.
Deftly. Yeah, I mean, I think teams might consider bringing him in, but maybe he should go to EU LCS. They're losing everyone.
If he signs in a different region, though, it's going to be a much later signing after teams have exhausted other resources.
Right.
I don't think they're going to make it a priority to be like, White Lotus, come here right now.
And again, there are even other import slots for AD that people would probably want before him.
Yeah.
I got to feel like a guy like Forgiven, despite the toxicity issues, someone will take him before White Lotus. Gorilla and Prey?
Who knows?
I think you might take Prey over
You'd make a
White
phone
Lotus.
call for sure.
No disrespect to the lettuce, the white lettuce.
Yeah.
You might take Prey.
You might.
But you could definitely be over there.
Yeah, definitely could. But it would be probably a later move. Will NA get a new studio? I think they're keeping the same one, are they not?
I'm pretty sure they are.
I think
Seems
they are.
fine.
Doesn't seem broken. Korea's getting a new arena, though.
Forced by the iron fist of Riot. They want to run everything.
I mean, they're doing a decent job.
They're taking over the world.
Soon enough. Shed Blood, what will the NA talent pool look afterwards that will replace NA Challenger Series?
What will it look like after they deplete The NA Challenger, or the Challenger Series
think
is no
so.
longer gone?
I don't fully understand the question, but what will the NA talent pool look like after it's replaced by a Challenger Series?
Well,
Something like that. Eric, give it your best shot.
I mean, once they take everything out of the Challenger Series, I think people will be like, huh, this isn't that deep, the talent pool. I think there might be maybe a couple at each position. But, I mean, once you're seeing these academy teams, and again, I want to know if it's 2 import slots for the 10 people on your roster.
That can't be the case. But
Some of these these academy rosters are going to be rough.
But that's the point.
They're going to have to be 5 NA players. And yes, sure, you'll showcase the talent, but I think there'll be a pretty significant drop-off for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, but the whole point is to grow the NA talent. So.
Right, give them some exposure, some experience, and maybe we'll start seeing trades. Maybe a team might have a standout guy on an academy roster, but he's not quite good enough to make their starting roster. Point. But Echo Fox, they're like, he'll be the best player on our team. Yeah. We'll take him. We'll give you 5 players. So that might be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I never thought of the trade aspect. Dun Costello, is Mr. Riles going to replace Doublelift? I would be shocked if that happened.
That would be spicy.
It'd be something.
That would be spicy. Mr. Riles is pretty good. He's a pretty good AD.
Sure. He's always been on terrible teams.
He's been on some poopy teams. Super Hot Crew, man. They finished like 3rd or 4th one split. Can't remember which. 3rd or 4th isn't bad.
Oh, they were good.
But I don't think he'll overtake Doublelift. He's either going to stay on that academy roster for them. But again, if that's taking up an import slot, he's gone. He gone.
He gone?
He gone. I think another team might take him. But then these import slots are tough, man. Riot should just give 3. You can have 3. That'd make things easier for teams.
It also deplete every other region, but that's okay.
That's okay. NA is where Riot's based, right?
Something like that. The Shrimper, what positions do you think SKT will change?
Mid.
Yeah, Faker sucks, man.
It sounds like Hooney. I don't think they need to replace him.
He was the best player for them in the finals.
Him and Faker.
Yeah.
I think Bang.
I think Jungle.
You think Jungle? Maybe just a fresh bot lane. Wolf wasn't that bad, but he has some games that you're like, oh. His Blitz was like a little scary. His Leona was a bit underwhelming. It wasn't great.
No.
So I think SKT is going to go over some serious changes.
Yeah, I
wouldn't be completely shocked if it was 4 new players playing with Faker.
Who knows, man?
Might be 4 new guys.
I've heard some people like Teddy going over to SKT as a new AD carry because he's been kind of a phenom, but on a not great team. So that could be one potential replacement.
Should sign iBoy.
iBoy. Ali Donners, what do you think will happen to Hooney's future with, will he stay in Korea or will he come to EU or NALCS?
He's not going to EU.
No one's going to EU.
EU
except for
dead.
European people.
EU is dead. I think if he's not going to stay on SKT, he'll probably come back to NA. And he is definitely worth an import slot. Because right now, I think he comes to NA, he's probably the best top laner in NA. So that's worth an import slot, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think he's either going NA or staying on SKT. But SKT might say, no, bye-bye. And then...
Yeah, then who knows? Maybe Hooney gets stuck on one of those awful Korean teams that can't compete. That'd be sad.
Yeah, I think he'd rather just play in NA and dumpster some people.
I
Or
imagine.
go to the LPL, and that's 4 regions he's played in.
You got to cover the world, man.
That's impressive.
You got to get to
Brazil's
them.
next.
Brazil's next. That's pretty exciting. Fast and 08, do you see TL getting better?
They've got to get better, right? I guess the competition will be better. They got to change that roster, man.
Well, they did already. They got Dardock and Mickey and Rainover, and they also have... Who's the other jungler they got? Anori?
Yeah, I'm having nightmares.
You
got to get rid of one of these junglers. I don't know why they have 3 junglers. Like, can you just have an academy team of 5 junglers? I guess you could.
I mean, roll it up.
Maybe that's a strategy. You sign, like, all the domestic junglers or from one position.
Then get crazy trades.
And then force other teams to... I don't even know if trades are going to be a thing. If
I
that's
don't
allowed, but that would be interesting.
The only trade we've seen is the Xmithy for Dardock trade.
Which is, I'm going to cut my player, you cut yours, and then we'll sign
the opposite guy.
Good trade.
Seems like collusion, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
Should have been fined for that.
Seriously. What former NALCS pros do you think could make a comeback in 2018? And what would be an interesting roster out of what could be made of the players that are no longer on an LCS team?
You can make a lot of interesting teams with
Yeah.
guys not on, because there are a lot of free agents. But I mean, again, Meteos is a guy who technically isn't playing, but I mentioned him earlier. Shifter.
Shifter, yeah.
Bring out my boy Shifter. Chipanya.
Forgiven.
Forgiven.
That's a team right there.
That's something. I'm telling you, there's going to be a couple of these teams that are going to have some like pretty famous guys, some pretty recognizable names all together. That's just kind of a mishmash, and it's going to be like, what is the synergy on this team? And I think one of these teams, they're gonna strike gold, and somehow these mismatch of Forgiven and Chipanya are going to be some miraculous team that finishes in the top 2.
Yeah, it'll be like the original Immortals roster with Huni, Rainover, and this just mess of a team that was like, they're the best.
No macro play and are just slaughtering.
Yeah, it was very interesting, but we'll have to see. Dylan Costello, have you guys heard anything about Hagaho and Apollo? Not a whisper. Heard nothing, but I mean, they were actually...
Whispers are hard to hear, to be fair.
No whispers. Sorry.
No whispers.
They were a top duo in North America, actually. Like top 5, maybe even up in the top 3 range. They were dumpstering people. The CS differential that they were accruing was pretty crazy.
They were one of the best laning 2v2s in the league. So I expect them to be on a roster, but again, I mean, Apollo kind of unfairly has been joked about his whole career. He's been on a lot of teams, so varying degrees of success. But I think they're on that second or third tier of available guys at the moment. I think they will be on a team, but it'll be kind of after people have fought over the top guys. They'll go, okay, we'll get Apollo and Hack.
I mean, it's not bad.
It's not bad. They're going to be on a team.
Yeah.
They're going to be
performing pretty well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if they'll be on a team together, but I think they'll both probably be on a team.
I mean, it makes sense to keep them together, but again, we don't know what teams are thinking.
Yeah.
Who's out there? What conversations have been had? Get those wiretaps going, right? Get them out there.
Nah, they got confiscated again.
Life sucks, man.
Yeah, life's tough.
Romeo Barnes, do you guys think support is an overlooked position still? I mean, teams are starting to really look at these playmakers. You saw Immortals brought on Ole, and that kind of changed things. Misfits, IgNar came out and kind of showed up as this guy who makes plays. So, I mean, yeah, you can get these guys who are just solid supports, but really, you need a playmaker.
Right before Worlds, support was one of the most important positions. You saw guys in the NALCS, Biofrost and Ole were carrying these series for them. And really across all regions, that was kind of the case. Guys were playing these vision control, focus supports that were roaming and winning lanes. Winning the lane for other laners. But then Worlds came, and everyone was stuck on Janalulu. And you actually make a huge impact by just shielding your AD, but it's not exactly showcasing what you can do as a support. So now that I think we're getting away from that meta, I think you'll see again how important support is.
Yeah, because for the longest time now, it's just been, I don't even know what your name is. It doesn't matter what your name is.
You could remove name tags, and it could be the Fenerbahce support. I don't even remember his name. I'm sorry, man. Or
because there was no nameplate.
Yeah, there's no nameplate. I don't remember his name. Couldn't see it. What was his name? Fenerbahce. Padden and I don't remember. Rest in peace, Fenerbahce.
We'll never see you again.
You will be remembered for your run at
almost
Worlds.
Win against Samsung.
Yeah, that's true.
You almost beat the world champions.
And you lost to G2's Yasuo.
Cheers. Philip Paul, do you think we'll see Meteos on FlyQuest's new roster?
Oh.
Get out here with the old memes, man. This stuff is bogus.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't he go there? He'll probably go on a team.
Why
wouldn't he go on FlyQuest?
Don't they have beef? They used to have beef.
I hope High's not on the team next split.
Well, dude, I think he's done with this.
Meteos and Turtle? Oh.
I don't think Meteos wants anything to do with his former Cloud9 members at this point. Wants a fresh start, man.
That's fair.
He's been linked to that team for so long, and do you really want to be
Dark Meteos
thrown back into the quick of things with lemon balls and high? It's
You got to get rid of those guys.
Yeah.
I think the nostalgia train has reached its final stop,
I'm a big fan,
and they're getting off.
but let's
They're
stop.
pioneers of the NALCS, but it's time to go.
Pioneers died too, guys.
That's
They didn't live forever.
what? You sure?
Yes.
Oh.
They came.
They died.
They died. Quick story. Didn't last
Very
too long.
short. Very short. Be coaches. Hire Lemon would make great coaches.
Yeah.
But if they're coaches, then Meteos probably won't go there. You're right.
I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe not FlyQuest, but he'll be in the LCS. He'll be there.
You think so?
I think
Log it down. All right. Championships at. Don't know about you guys, but I'd love to see Rush Hour again, double lift and Afro. I mean, there was also a time when Afro was like, I'll stay on this team, but you gotta go to double lift.
Yeah, I think they had a pretty serious falling out, and they're not buddy-buddy anymore.
I think they're still acquaintances, and they'll
Ooh,
communicate.
That's a cold word.
They still duo
Acquaintances.
occasionally, but yeah, acquaintances is like,
That's a harsh word.
we're not friends, but we chat
Don't you
time
miss?
to time.
Don't you miss the GIF of them? I forget what movie it's from.
Yeah,
You know
but
that
I know the one where they're walking down the street all happy in the suits
That
and
was
stuff.
in all
Yeah.
the post-game
It's-
threads.
it's
Don't you miss
fantastic.
seeing that?
Yeah, I
every-
do. It still shows up every now and then. I'm like,
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
doesn't
That's
make
fantastic.
sense. But I don't think we'll see Rush Hour reunited.
No, I wouldn't hate it, but All Stars is always a chance to do stupid stuff like that.
I don't think either of them should go to All Stars.
No, I'm with you, but you know how voting works, Eric.
I do. I do know how voting works.
Good for you. Romeo Barnes, did you hear about Ole trying out for CLG, and what do you think of that? I didn't hear that one.
About him
Trying out for CLG?
trying out before he got on Immortals,
I don't know.
or right now. I haven't heard
I
about it.
didn't hear either. So
Yeah, I can't. I don't know if that's a thing. I can't believe they'd get rid of Afro if that's ongoing.
to be fair, Afro didn't have the best split of his life.
One split. Well,
Yeah, kind
one
of
and a half.
2017.
Bad year.
Just
I guess that's enough.
Maybe,
But he's the most popular guy, the most loved guy on CLG.
I also feel like he's the backbone and leader of that team. So
He sure is.
we will see what happens.
That would be
If he gets let go from CLG,
someone will snatch him up instantly.
yeah, especially one of those basketball teams as the face of your team, Afro immediately, you get a lot of fans.
You would get a lot of fans.
Did you guys check out Zoe's new abilities? We did.
Looks interesting.
I mean, the way Riot usually operates is new champs are either going to be incredibly overpowered or incredibly underpowered, especially when you look at the
And
starting
then-
win rates.
And then they either buff or nerf them.
The complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
So then they're either underpowered or overpowered.
So the mechanic of picking up people's summoners, I assume you can only have one at a time, because otherwise that'd be nuts. And there's got to be a short window you can use them.
Yes.
And I hope it actually has a somewhat long cooldown, but I don't think it does, because in that teaser she uses it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hope you can't pick them up over the course of a game and then be like, I'm just going to flash the entire map because I can.
And why do minions drop them?
That is stupid.
That seems completely unnecessary.
Also, the ult cooldown is going to be way too low.
Yeah, I believe someone from Riot said it goes 10, 8, 6.
And then you add
6
CDR to that.
seconds. Yeah, you're going to get it down like 4 seconds almost, 5 seconds.
It's going to be annoying.
That is nasty. So she might be busted, but I'm pretty sure I say that about every champion. I said Ornn was going to be totally broken. And look at where we are.
Stupid Disney.
Yeah, I like Disney, man. They make good films.
That's a good point, Eric.
Thanks.
Yeah. Wow. Never thought of it that way. The Shrimper, do you think iBoy and Mako or Kramer and Tucson can go to SKT? iBoy was playing out of his mind at Worlds, and that performance could potentially earn him a bigger spot, especially a young guy like him.
How often does a LPL guy go to the LCK when he wasn't in the LCK before? It's pretty rare that
It's
that
very
happens.
rare.
So I don't know if that would happen.
It's usually the other way around.
It is.
So
Kramer
we'll
was good. Kramer looked good. I think, yeah, I mean, SKT really got to start looking at stuff. Maybe they'll just grab Ruler.
see. He really want to play for SKT?
We just beat them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See, it was so much easier for SKT to sign guys because like we're world champs. You want to come win a championship?
Okay.
Yeah, but now they didn't win.
Yeah.
Who knows? That could change the tides. of
Huni
things.
broke SKT. He's 0-1.
We didn't mention it yet today, by the way. The first North American guy, or the first player to play in North America, has won Worlds. Core JJ. Congratulations.
Poor JJ.
Team Dignitas 80 carry. Wow.
You know, a couple of years ago, I said I watched him do an Ezreal backwards in a team fight, and I said, you know what, this guy's going to be a world champion. And here we are, a couple of years later. I knew it was coming. I knew it.
You wrote it down.
I wrote it down.
You showed me.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's right there. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, congrats to him, though. Come a long way.
Yeah. Some people in chat talking about how Echo Fox can't sign guys because they have a bunch of guys on these long contracts, but you can just terminate their asses and say, see, you pay them out and you get someone better.
Yeah, Rick Fox, give him a signed basketball and you go, thanks.
I mean, I'd terminate Keith's ass really quick.
And if I'm getting a free basketball out of it, you know, I'm considering it.
Yeah. But I mean, just because you're under contract doesn't mean you're ever.
Yeah, I think you could screw people over pretty goodly. Pretty goodly?
Screw them over real goodly.
Real goodly. So I'm not feeling safe if I'm Keith. The only person safe on that team 100% is Frog, I think.
Yeah.
That's it. There's 9 spots open as far as I'm concerned.
If they signed all those guys to these long contracts, that is a ridiculous thing to do.
If you're like Grigney and you're signed to 2020 or whatever, you can't be sitting there like, oh man, I'm good. I'm signed to 2020.
If I was him, I'd be like that because I'm not that good.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'd be satisfied.
That roster's going to be different.
I would hope so.
If not, they're dead last.
Yes.
And that's it.
You can't sit on that roster with the changes. It's not a thing.
If that's the roster, you trade Froggen. Start the rebuild. We're real sports now. The rebuild.
Yeah, let go of the entire roster and scout these guys.
Yeah, start drafting.
You only get one pick though.
That's fine.
Well,
you hope it's a good one.
Push him out by himself.
Yeah.
1v5 him, buddy. Shed Blood, what are the chances that Faker comes to NA or EU? I'll give him the old goose egg. I know you like the goose eggs.
No. You got to give him the 1%. There's a chance for anything. Give him 1%. But I mean, he's not going to make more money in NA than he probably makes in Korea. EU's dead. Probably doesn't exist as a region in his mind.
He wants vengeance, man.
He wants vengeance, so he's got to stay in Korea and beat the best of the best.
Redeem his fallen comrades.
Mostly himself.
Mostly himself. 2 final questions, Eric.
All right.
Kyler wants to know what will happen with the KT roster, possible North American imports.
I mean, any one of those guys, NA team would very much like to have.
Yeah.
I can't see that roster staying together. They did it. They went for the super team. Couldn't even get to Worlds.
Is that bad?
It's pretty bad. 3 chances.
Yeah, they were in all 3 spots to qualify and couldn't get it done once.
Oof.
Blow it up.
Blow
Good
it
night.
Up. Blow it up. Score just cannot get his ticket to Worlds.
Can't score a ticket. That's what you should have said.
Can't score a
Screwed it
ticket. That's pretty funny. Good one. Nice.
Yeah.
They'll be a different looking team though.
They will. Final question for you, Eric. What do you think of the idea of a trading system that they have like in the NFL with trade deadlines and draft picks to be given up? That might be down the road.
That could definitely become something, but right now, if you're giving up draft picks, I don't think they're that sought after.
And they only have 1.
Yeah, you only have 1, and they are so not proven at all. Like this, you might get a guy who you're like, oh my god, I don't even want him on my academy team. I don't know why we picked him up. So maybe, yeah, as it progresses more, maybe more people are getting into the upper echelon of solo queue. But right now, there's just not enough draft picks.
Exactly.
And not enough players that you want to draft, probably. If you can pick from other teams. Maybe even if you're able to include a multi-team deal or something like that, where you have these insane complicated deals that you have in other sports, where it's 3-team deals with 5 players going one way, stuff like that. Maybe you could do it then.
Maybe. But I do think, like you said earlier, maybe having these challenge rosters could increase the amount of trading we see.
Yeah.
But in terms of draft picks and the whole draft system, that's probably still down the road once it gets developed a bit more. Once we know what kind of talent's coming out of the scene, once it gets developed in this challenger circuit, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Very interesting, though. Very interesting future.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday at 2 p.m., we'll be getting more into that nitty-gritty of the future of the NALCS. Look at some more. I'm sure there'll be more rumors by then.
Yeah.
It's 2 whole days away.
Should we do the old free agent thing, who's available on Wednesday?
We'll show this big list we've been working on that's all the available guys who are unsigned, import guys, NA-based guys, and what current iterations of rosters are. Yeah. Spoilers for the NBA teams, it's 0. There's no one on the roster, so they'll probably lose every game right now.
That would not help you, no?
No guys wouldn't help you. But we'll break that stuff down on Wednesday at 2 p.m. This was the last World show, so feel nostalgic about it. World's 2018. See you soon.
Yeah, just a year away.
Like a year away. But we'll be back Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eric Kummel, Matt Hempstead. We'll see you guys then.